Hey Grand Adventurers, welcome back. I'm your host, Mark Guido, and we're spending this week in the heart of the Montana mountains visiting the tiny town of Lincoln. Come along. This episode of Grand Adventure is sponsored by etrailer.com, where you'll find thousands of products for RVing, towing, camping, outdoor recreation, vehicles, boating, and more. Click the link in the video description or scan the code on your screen to shop etrailer.com with Grand Adventure. Lincoln is a tiny town, population 1,000, surrounded by a whole lot of Montana. Roughly equidistant between Missoula and Great Falls, Lincoln sits in the picturesque mountain valley of the Blackfoot River, right at the southern end of the uninterrupted crown of the continent wildlife corridor. From what is essentially a single main drag, less than a mile long, wildlands stretch in every direction, making Lincoln a haven for outdoor enthusiasts. It's a long way from anywhere. It's so remote, in fact, that 5 miles south of town is where the Unabomber, Kaczynski, hermitized in his cabin. Meriwether Lewis passed through the area on his return to St. Louis in 1806, following the famous River of the Road to the Buffalo, the translation of the Nez Perce name for the river. In 1865, David Culp and Thomas Patterson staked a claim in what they designated Abe Lincoln Gulch in honor of the recently assassinated president. Gold prospectors descended upon the area, and a small community soon formed at the mouth of the gulch with the abbreviated name Lincoln. After several starts and stops, a continuously operating post office was finally established in 1887. Lincoln Gulch was abandoned in favor of the town's present location about 4.5 miles to the southeast. Recreational, logging, and mining activities along the Blackfoot River in the early 20th century made it a convenient commercial center. Logging companies and sawmills proliferated to feed the mining industry with building materials. And by the 1960s, lumber was the economic driver here. The town still has a lumberjack atmosphere. It would be a crime to visit Montana without enjoying one of the state's famous huckleberry shakes. We've met up here with the two couples we'll be traveling with for much of the summer. RV influencers Ann and Ed of Eddie at Large, and our Salt Lake friends and now full-time RVers Dale and Pat, who arrived here from their winter base along the Texas Gulf Coast. And of course, Ed and Ann's two lovable dogs, Selena and Ringo. We, however, have a miserable sense of timing. Spring weather can be a true roller coaster just about everywhere, and nowhere is that more true than in the Mountain West of the United States. When you're planning to spend a week camping, this isn't the weather forecast you want to see. A closed low has stalled over western Montana during our week in Lincoln, going nowhere and spinning up waves of rain showers, thunderstorms, and even hail in between disappointingly brief breaks in the clouds. That's limited our opportunity to recreate this week in the beautiful natural surroundings that have made the Lincoln area famous, or to film it in a way that truly captures this area's stunning landscapes. Instead, we found ourselves making ample use of the bars and restaurants in town for our social gatherings. The Bootlegger, known to locals as the Butte, had a delicious prime rib dinner with salad bar on Friday nights. The food at the Scapegoat Cafe within the Wilderness Bar was likewise exceptional. Ed's Scapegoat Burger had nearly a full pound of meat. Check out the size of their hand-breaded pork loin sandwich. A couple of guys we met at the Wilderness Bar are U.S. Forest Service wildland firefighters, who have been busy managing a controlled burn of slash piles on the mountains near town. Despite the crummy weather, we've nevertheless had the opportunity to sneak out and see a few of the surrounding natural areas during brief breaks between rain showers. Rogers Pass, where Highway 200 crosses the Continental Divide at an elevation of 5,610 feet, 18 miles northeast of Lincoln, is known for being the location of the coldest recorded temperature in the United States outside of Alaska. On January 20th, 1954, a temperature of -70 Fahrenheit was recorded here. We'll be right back with a look at the campground we're patronizing in Lincoln, along with some more of the area's surrounding beauty, nature, and an unexpected art installation, following a quick message from our valued video sponsor, eTrailer. Whether you need products for your RV, boat, trailer, vehicle, hunting and fishing, off-roading, and more, our video sponsor, eTrailer, has you covered. Best of all, you'll find over 100 US-based enthusiast customer service reps ready to help via phone, chat, or email, both before and after the sale. These folks have used themselves the products that you're shopping for, and you won't find a more knowledgeable team anywhere to help you with your outdoor project. Click the link in the video description or scan the code on your screen to shop etrailer.com with Grand Adventure. After an intense thundershower on the Sunday afternoon of our arrival, the skies briefly cleared. So we got our camera out and our drone up to film our home for the week, Lost Moose Meadows RV Campground. We weren't sure we'd get a second chance. Owned by a charming local couple who are RVers themselves, Lost Moose Meadows has 40 beautifully spaced sites 3 miles west of town, with full hookup in both 30 amp and 50 amp electrical service for $45 per night. And we got in with an early season buy 5 get 2 free special. Every campground should be laid out this way, with nearly 100 feet between adjacent sites. Pull-through sites are up to 90 feet long, and back-in sites are up to 75 feet long. All sites have picnic tables and fire pits. Located at an elevation of 4,500 feet, sites here are set far enough back from Montana Route 220, the longest route signed as a state highway in the United States. The traffic noise is non-existent. Bath and shower facilities are modern and immaculate. We've been hoping that the area's prolific elk herds would come down from the mountains of the Scapegoat Wilderness to graze in the meadow behind our camper, but we've had no such luck. On the east edge of town, hidden within a 26-acre forest of ponderosa pines, are perhaps the last things you'd expect to find on the outskirts of Lincoln, Montana. Thought-provoking, grand-scaled art installations. Blackfoot pathways, sculpture in the wild. The brainchild of local knife artist Rick Dunkerley and Irish sculptor Kevin O'Dwyer, presents for free national and international artists' interpretations of the environmental and industrial heritage of the Blackfoot Valley. Teepee burners were once ubiquitous to the local economy. Kevin O'Dwyer reimagined the Delaney sawmill teepee burner to honor the Blackfoot Valley's once thriving timber industry. In Gateway of Change, Danish artist Jorn Ronau sought to reunite the two trees sharing the same roots that were growing apart. Ponderosa Whirlpool was created by British artist Chris Drury to apply the energy of the universe's whirlpools or vortexes to the sculpture part, dominated by ponderosa pines. Finnish sculptor Jaakko Pernu's picture frame evokes the landscape of Montana, assimilating the endeavor of mankind, comparing it to nature. American artist Tyler Nansen encourages the preservation of bat habitats in Montana in his piece Bat Beacon, which also functions as a roosting site for bats. House of Sky, created by Irish sculptor Alan Cunahan, takes its title from the memoir of a Montana childhood by writer Ivan Doig. In the bridge, German artist Cornelia Conrads questions if the bridge is breaking apart or growing together. She argues that both are possible at the same time. American artist Casey Schachner explores relational aesthetics and industrial materials and reflects on the heritage of the Blackfoot Valley's balance between industry and environment in Stringer. British artists Sam Clayton and Mark Jacobs employed the corners they admired on local historical cabins and evoked thoughts of crossing the nearby Continental Divide in East-West Passage. Stephen Siegel of the United States constructed Hill and Valley using 28 lodge poles, 400 pounds of nails, and 30,000 pounds of newspaper. Volunteers from across western Montana constructed the sculpture over the course of 3 weeks. Of Earth, of Sky, of Place Between by American Noelan Pepos embodies the spirit of the region and its people. Finally, American artist Patrick Dougherty's Tree Circus features a double wall with a series of 10 chambers, 5 open to the sky, and 5 consolidated as towers that mimic the shape of the tops of the surrounding ponderosa pine. Across the road from Sculpture in the Wild, a grizzly exhibit within the Helena Lewis and Clark National Forest Lincoln Ranger Station showcases a giant adult grizzly who died in a local vehicle collision in 2007. He would have stood 8 feet tall. Between town and our campsite, High Country Trading Post features both locally crafted snack foods and an extensive taxidermy exhibit of local wildlife, past and present. We've got lots more to share, including an historic fire watchtower atop the Continental Divide that you can drive to and even stay overnight in, along with some glacial geology and beautiful Seeley Lake, right after a quick ad break to pay the bills. So stay tuned. After 6 straight days of relentless rain, we finally caught a break on Saturday morning, our last day in Lincoln, and we're going to take full advantage of it. Ed and I have a destination this morning that we're not sure we'll be able to reach this early in the season, due to some deep snow that may remain at its lofty elevation. But we're going to try nevertheless, and hope for some expansive views. We've made it. The Granite Butte Lookout Tower is located atop the Continental Divide at 7,587 feet above sea level, approximately 16 miles southeast of Lincoln and accessible via forest roads. Built in 1932, the 15 by 15 lookout cabin that sits atop a 20-foot tall wooden tower may be rented by overnight campers year-round on recreation.gov. It offers commanding views of the Scapegoat Wilderness, Big Belt Mountains, and Scratch Gravel Hills near Helena from high atop Montana's Continental Divide. A few miles west of our campsite, near the tiny present-day community of Ovando, Montana, Meriwether Lewis noted what he called Prairies of the Knobs, containing numerous irregularly scattered rounded mounds of debris left behind by Piedmont glaciers during the last ice age, which ended around 10,000 years ago. This has resulted in a fascinating landscape of short rolling hillocks, in between which sit numerous glacial tarns of varying sizes and shapes. Continuing west and north, about an hour's drive from our campsite, is a valley filled with a beautiful chain of lakes, linked by the Clearwater and Swan rivers, beginning with Salmon Lake, one of the most beautiful lakes in the Clearwater River chain, nestled between the majestic Mission and Swan Mountain ranges. If you're feeling flush, you can reserve the Island Lodge on Salmon Lake for rates ranging up to $8,353 per night, with a 3-night minimum. Salmon Lake provides a beautiful and tranquil setting to enjoy many types of water recreation activities, including fishing for rainbow, cutthroat, brown, brook, and bull trout, largemouth bass, white mountain whitefish, kokanee salmon, yellow perch, and northern pike. There are opportunities to view many species of birds, including red-necked grebes, great blue herons, bald eagles, waterfowl, osprey, and common loons. There's a state park on the lakeshore with a 24-site campground that can accommodate both tents and RVs. The area around Salmon Lake and nearby Seeley Lake is where we first planned to spend this week, before discovering that the forest roads to the area's most attractive boondocking spots would still be closed for the season during our mid-May visit. Seeley Lake is named for Jasper Seeley, who built a cabin on what was in 1881 known as Clearwater Lake. Seeley served as the first ranger on the Lewis and Clark Forest Reserve. The first road to Seeley Lake came in 1895. Today, Seeley Lake is a popular summer vacation destination for Montanans. There's a little less to the community than I had expected, but my biggest disappointment was the limited public access to the lakeshore. You've got to work hard to find a way to reach it. Of course, another Montana community means another opportunity for a huckleberry shake.
Very good.
Well, we sure got lucky with that break in the weather here on Saturday morning, because now it's Saturday afternoon and the clouds are thickening up ahead of another couple of days of rain. We couldn't have been any luckier today to get out and shoot those last few scenes. We're gonna get packed up and head up right near the Canadian border to Eureka, Montana. So if you're not yet a Grand Adventurer, now is the perfect time for you to go smash that little subscribe button, the one right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, and ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a Grand Adventure, which we premiere right here every Wednesday evening. We'd be honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. Understand, it's extremely important to us that if you liked this episode from Lincoln, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you'll find the comment section where we'd love to hear from you each and every week. So until next Wednesday from Eureka, Montana, please remember, life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.